So we are live. Yeah, this is great. Haven't been live in a while for everybody. Hope you guys had a good Christmas there. I know that a lot has happened here since we last went live, right? And I appreciate anybody that shows up to these, or for that matter, even watches the recordings afterwards. Today, I got some interesting stuff that I want to talk about, especially around the 600 or 2000, hopefully, stimulus payment. And then on top of that, let's talk about the Christmas bombing, and then something that hits close to home because I work so closely with people in the Philippines. And that is over something that happened right before Christmas regarding a killer cop. And it's picking up a lot of controversy. So let's first start with the stimulus payment that's going on. So if you didn't know this, right, in the U.S., at least for those of you guys that live in the U.S. and will benefit from this, we already went through one round of stimulus payment, right, once. Depending on your status, you either, got upwards of $3,600 with children and a wife and family and stuff like that, or you might have gotten less, depending, again, on your status. It's going to be no different this time, except that this time we have, a lot, well, at least for now, approve a lot less money, right, than last time. For now, what is certain is that $600 will be given to those that qualify, unless the government can get their shit together and increase this to $2,000 as suggested by Trump. Now, again, if you guys haven't been following the actual developments and what has been happening and only care about like where's my money kind of thing, let me give you a little bit of update, a little insight. So let me go into picture-in-picture here real quick. There we go. Hopefully this is... No, hold on for a second. There we go. All right, perfect. So there it is. So we have out of NBC, we have an article saying House backs increase of coronavirus stimulus checks to $2,000. Now, I don't want anybody, celebrating just yet, because all this means is that after the president basically pushed back on the people only getting $600, the House here has decided, fine, let's increase it to what Trump suggested, which is $2,000. But this is not official yet. So I hope nobody's making plans around already getting $2,000 for themselves and their spouse and their, the children. So as it stands right now, now that it has passed in the House, it has to go to the Senate, right? Which is right now ruled by Republicans. And at the head of that is Mitch McConnell. I know for some of you guys, you know who I'm talking about, and that's fine. But essentially what you should know is that Mitch McConnell is not a guy that has a good track record for approving a lot of welfare acts, if you may. Okay, the guy is very conservative. He is from Kentucky. Not that it should matter too much, but he does block a lot of things that, in my opinion, would benefit the majority. So as it is right now, again, you have a $600 for sure that will be approved. And this all depends, just like last time, on how much you made in 2019. So for an example, if you are a single person that made less than $75,000, you can probably bank on getting those $600, right? Again, you got to also see it this way. If you got the stimulus payment last time, it is very, very likely you'll get it this time. Now, for couples, you have to be, I believe, under $125,000. And for that, here, let me switch over to another article that is a little bit more in detail to who is eligible and questions like that, right? So let's look at here. Out of alive.com, who is eligible. So anyone who has an income, individual of $75,000 or less, or a household of 150, excuse me, I said 125 earlier, 150 or less will qualify for these payments. Again, what I would say is if you qualified last time, it is very likely you're going to qualify this time, right? Unless you had a massive increase in wealth for some reason. Now, what do you need to do? Do you need to contact the IRS? No, very much like last time. This is all going to be automatically done and deposited into your bank account, right? Now, one thing that I will say is that, there it is. is that, you know, I hope, I guess, in some part that we don't hear all these crazy stories, right? Just like last time where you had people in prison getting checks, dead people getting checks. It was a pretty nasty freaking situation last time, from what I understand, when it came down to who got the money, right? So, you know, I hope this time, you know, they did their checks and balances a little bit more and cleared that up. But as it is right now, allegedly, people can be expecting deposits by Monday, I believe, because we have this upcoming holiday, end of the year here in the U.S. So, you know, you are going to get some kind of relief. Is it what I think most of us expected, wanted? No. I think this is well overdue. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not expect for any of this to happen before the end of the year. Even for us to be this far into a second stimulus, right? I thought honestly that I even tweeted about it, I think about a month ago, that because of so many, you know, controversies that was happening, you know, out of the Capitol, and they were saying, it's coming. Oh my God, now Mitch McConnell wants this. Oh, now the Chuck Schumer and, you know, the minority whatever guy in the Senate, now they're fighting. It was just a mess, right? There was just so much back and forth that I did not see this coming this late in the game. But I guess it's here, and I guess for a lot of us, you know, we need the stimulus, so we're happy it's here. All right, so with that, let's move on to the next story, and that is unfortunate, this bombing that happened over Christmas. So this, I will say that the main reason I'm covering it is because I feel like many people that it's not really getting any attention, right? So let me show you here an article out of NBC. Here we have an article headline: Bomber Nashville Christmas explosion was loner, quote unquote, right? Loner IT consultant, sources say. I don't know that that's relevant. Who cares if the guy was popular or loner? But according to this, he is Anthony Werner. And the guy is a loner out of Tennessee. He worked in IT. He retired. And essentially what he did, if for some reason you didn't hear about this, is that he blew himself up inside an RV, right? Outside an AT&T building. Now, the thing here, the good thing I would suppose you can say out of this is that he didn't kill anybody. Now, the funny thing that some of you guys may already have seen some videos circulating is that he actually put a recording, right? A female voice recording in a loudspeaker playing to warning people to get away from the site, to get away from the scene. And up until the very end, I saw the video. I don't want to show it here to not get taken down by YouTube, but what I saw was out of a surveillance camera that was also picking up audio, and it was picking up, again, the recording of this woman saying, you must evacuate the area. And up until the last moment, when the vehicle exploded, the recording was still playing in the background. You see afterwards in that same little clip, even a guy walking with his dog. Shortly after, you see like the big blast again in the surveillance camera. It was definitely pretty serious. There are some photos of the aftermath that looks. I don't see if I have one here, but it looks. It looked. Here it is. Here. So here's the RV, by the way, right? That the guy blew himself up in. And no, it doesn't look like there's a picture of the actual aftermath, but it was pretty serious, right? Now, one thing that I found interesting is this other article under Fox that said, report, LA woman received 2 houses from Nashville bombing suspect. Now, here's the guy. I usually don't show the faces of killers and terrorists, but, for the sake of the argument here, or the article, excuse me, we see that a woman says that she received 2 houses, right? One valued, here's a prices here. One valued of $160,000 and the other one worth $249,000. The funny thing, by the way, if you didn't know this, is that in the state of Tennessee, you can deed property to someone else without their consent or their signature or anything, right? According to Swing, who was the person who received the homes. He put on there, I didn't even buy the house. He just deeded it over to me without my knowledge. So it's interesting. I would say at the most, this is someone that clearly planned this out. According to some other sources, they're saying that it's because the guy was not right in the head. He felt like this whole 5G thing was some kind of government conspiracy. And of course, he went after, kind of say, AT&T, right? Being that he blew himself up in this RV outside an AT&T building. So he definitely did what I think at a very, very minor scale meant to do, which is disrupt the system, right? I saw other articles over the weekend that, there was a lot of local businesses reporting, that their cell service, a lot of their internet provided services, AT&T provided services were misfunctioning. So, at a very, very tiny scale, I guess he accomplished what he wanted. The guy, in my opinion, definitely wanted to send a message, but he didn't necessarily want to kill people, right? He was, again, according to some sources, very much against the whole 5G technology and against like big corporations, right? Which is, again, why he went after AT&T. Here's what I'll say about this, right? Now the conversation has shifted towards, is this guy a terrorist? Right? And you have to look at it from this stance. If this would have been, and I get, by the way, people that are saying, oh, they're not labeling this because he's white. Oh, they're not labeling this because he's not of other ethnicities. And they kind of have a point. Why do they have a point? Because if this would have been, and I want everybody and anybody that watches this, just take 2 minutes to think about it, right? If this would have been someone, right, in a hijab or something that resembled Middle Eastern wardrobe, they would have automatically labeled this a terrorist act. Would they have labeled it if this would have been a Latino, a black person? Maybe not, right? But it's definitely up in the air. And what is certain right now is that even the media, the mass media, is not really labeling this for what it looks like it is. It's a guy who got in his RV and blew himself up. Again, the conversation now has shifted towards, once again, the media, chooses how to label certain information for the sake of, some internal gain, right, of some kind. So what I will say is it's unfortunate. It's a very unfortunate that it happened on Christmas. If you didn't know this, again, it happened very, very, very early on Christmas morning. And, it's one of those things that I hope, that doesn't provoke any other copycats. All right, let's move on to the last story. Now, the last story, as I told some of you guys, is kind of hitting close to home, not because I'm Filipino, not because I'm in the Philippines, but because I have worked for a long time with people in the Philippines, and for that matter, I've worked in different Filipino communities, whether here in the States when I was a technician, or again when I opened up my business, right? And it's something that, a lot of my current employees and team members were saying, man, did you hear about this, JT? Hey, can you talk about this? Can you kind of bring some light to it? What do you think about this overall? And for that, let's turn over to a couple of different sites, articles here that I have. We'll start with this one on Facebook, right? Again, I really hate to put the face of POSs, but here is the POS that murdered two individuals. He said something on here allegedly, I guess, once he turned himself in, which, when he was asked if he regret what he did, and he allegedly said, yes, sir. Right? Now, the funny thing here is that they also added that it definitely appeared like he was lying, right? Like he wasn't really truly remorseful. Now, I don't know if developments have happened, by the way, for anybody watching from the Philippines, if anything has happened literally since I was given all this information, but it does appear that he turned himself in, right, after he committed the atrocious acts and allegedly was remorseful. Now, I'm going to turn to something that many people said, right, when it comes to what is happening with law enforcement in the Philippines. And that is that, a lot of this comes down to the president, right, Duterte, who he's been known to be very outspoken and to not hold back, right, when he has an opinion over something. In this case, for instance, for this specific incident, he went as far as saying that, that the cop killer, is crazy and they should feed him COVID-19. again, in my opinion, this goes along a lot with what I have personally, by the way, as a guy in the States, I've heard of this president, and that is he doesn't supposedly tolerate a lot when it comes to what he wants done, right? So he doesn't tolerate a lot of opposition. He doesn't tolerate a lot of people telling him what to do. In fact, he's one of the guys that sometime way ago, when Obama was still in power here in the U.S., I think he called him like son of a, the mother's a bitch, or son of a something. Like he insulted Obama's mother or something like that in his language. Right, so he's a guy, again, that it's very much my way or the highway. Now, he is also the man that encouraged a lot of the law enforcement authority in the Philippines to be very brutal against, an example, drug dealers, right, or people that refuse to obey the law. And he kind of opened up the gates of hell, you can kind of say, right? So here in this article, he allegedly says that, there will be hell to pay, right, for the abuse that the law enforcement officer decided to take part on. And by the way, let me give you guys a real quick picture of what the guy did. For those of you guys that haven't seen the video and maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about, which I apologize, I should have done in the beginning. So this POS, essentially, there is a video. I saw it for myself. I can still see it. It's just disgusting. So he has this young man cornered with the grandmother hugging, okay, the individual. There was a previously, before the video was recording, they had an argument, right? There was different things that I've heard on there, right? That I guess there was some feud. The point is this. After a few minutes, you see what appears to be the daughter of the police officer, right? Essentially yell at the grandmother, at the lady. Not that the grandmother, or not that she was a grandmother to the young lady, but, at the lady that was pointed out to be the grandmother. She says something along the lines of like, my father's a police officer. The older lady then says, basically, I don't care. Now, I don't understand the language, but I got some rough translations, and essentially it's like, I don't care that your father is a police officer. Well, the guy that was there holding this teen, right, basically holding him, I don't know if he was holding him until backup arrived. I don't know if he was holding there. I don't know what the reason was, but he basically had the grandmother and the young person there just backed up against the wall. And he was, by the way, in civilian clothes. What happened after is when that young girl said, my father's a police officer, and the older lady said, I don't care, he shot the older lady and the guy, right, in the head. It is all caught on tape. It is beyond disgusting. In fact, here in this one, I forgot, here in GMA, they have a still of the video, right? A still image of the video. It is beyond disgusting. And a lot of people were messaging me, telling me, hey, this is shocking, but it's not necessarily something that is new. This is shocking because it was caught on camera. It's shocking because it happened in literally broad daylight. By the way, here, let me show you real quick. That girl there in the white shirt, that's the girl that yelled, my father's a police officer. And this POS right here is the guy that shot, obviously, the people on the floor, right? And it just set off the guy. It set the guy off when the older lady said, I don't care, right? Why? Because, well, probably little man syndrome. And because he has a gun, and because he decided, I can do this. Even though he was being recorded, and in the transition or the whole video, I want to say that I saw him look up at the person who was recording, because it looked like the other person was maybe at a second story or something that was elevated. So that person was recording, right, the whole incident happening right down below. And I want to say I saw the POS look up, and he's being recorded, and he didn't care. It's beyond, saddening, disheartening to see stuff like this happening in the Philippines, right? And again, many people have told me about this is like, hey man, honestly, this is very sad, but it's not new. It's just, it happens here all the time. And it happens mainly because the Duarte encourages it, right? So I wanted to bring some light to it. I wanted to at least share it. I work very closely with a lot of people in the Philippines. I've worked for many years, in fact, and I really appreciate them, and I think a lot of the times the least that we can do as an individual, for another race, for another culture, is bring light to their problems, right? In any way we can. Even if you only inform one or two people, or maybe three people that are going to be watching this eventually, 10 people, 100 people, whatever it is, if I have any kind of platform, I want to bring light to all this, right? So yeah, that's it for today, episode 80. I just realized that right now, episode 80. It's crazy. Honestly, when I started recording these videos, I knew I wanted to do it long term. I didn't know I was going to get to episode 80 this fast. I still struggle to come up with content ideas and news that I want to talk about. And a lot of times, unfortunately, most of the news that I come across is, well, you guys have seen videos, right? For those of you guys that have been watching the show, it's unfortunately very negative, dark news all the time. And yeah. And with that, I say, thank you for watching. Maybe I'll go live tomorrow again. If I do, I'm going to always appreciate all of you guys and any of you guys that tune in, whether when I'm live or after the fact. I'm going to get a lot better at it eventually. But yeah, we'll leave it at that for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, day, morning, whatever. See ya. I got to turn this off. Sorry, guys. It's a little weird. I know. We're still live. It's weird.